this is a little bit of an unusual exchange between the Conti Ransomware gang and the Costa Rican government. Now, for reasons that we'll go into later, it seems as though this exchange is not really aimed at making money. Instead, it's aimed towards publicity, with the Costa Rican government saying they are now officially at war. And that's not an exaggeration, which is a quote. So what happened here was there were some amount of government files that were hit by the Conti ransomware gang, and they were asking for 20 million, which is a lot of money and a lot more than they were initially asking for in this exchange.
I think it was 600 gigabytes, 672 maybe.
672?
Yeah, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, yes, that absolutely is, depending on where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 672 gigabytes of, I don't know, like surveillance footage of a bridge, then who knows? But yeah, so this seems to be more of a publicity play. Do you know more about this particular attack?
Yeah, I can talk about it. All right. Yeah, as it seems, they're sort of just putting up this facade in order to just sort of branch off into other operations. And for what Conti has been tweeting about and also putting out news about, they're trying to shut down their operation and also just move into sort of like smaller subgroups or things that are able to fly more under the radar compared to this huge operation that they've been standing up over the course of, I think, the past 2 years now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I know about that. But as it seems, they have obtained, 672 gigabytes from the Costa Rican government, and they've also targeted various sectors, including the Ministry of Labor, Social Security, the Costa Rica Finance Ministry, and a whole bunch of others, which is pretty bad. Containing information, I think, like various tax documents, credentials from high-profile government people, and other data that you would not want leaked if you were a government agency.
Well, that can definitely explain the declaration of war, I guess, from Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary information war. But here you can also see this diagram showing...
Which is, I'm sorry to the makers of this diagram, but this is the most confusing diagram I have seen all day. For like for an organization like splintering away into smaller organizations, which is like a thing that has happened for a very long time. Like the fact that this is the infographic they came up with to show it, which is like a shutter flying apart into increasingly smaller pieces of shutter. Is deeply confusing to me, but please continue.
I see it more as like a crumbling Pringle chip that someone might have stepped on.
Oh, okay, all right.
See? So now the analogy makes more sense.
The Conti ransomware is the crumbling Pringle chip. I got it.
Yeah, so Conti is basically just splitting off its members into various groups. So there's these semi-autonomous groups here that are... You can see, for those who prefer to use a locker, a former Conti team can join one of these groups that works semi-independently as a collective affiliate. Some of these include Hive, which we're actually going to cover in another piece of news soon, Avos Locker, Hello Kitty, Black Hat. There's some autonomous groups here, like Black Bite, Bazaar Call Collective, Car Recruit, and then some other smaller, low-profile groups like mergers and acquisitions, and also just independent members who are splitting off. But essentially the benefit here is these groups that are taking in these Conti ransomware members have access to people who have a lot of experience dealing with these kinds of high-profile attacks.
Yeah, and I guess the important takeaway from this very confusing graphic is that the Conti ransomware syndicate is seeding themselves within other criminal organizations as high-skilled members, but also gaining access to those organizations' resources and strengthening their overall position. So not only are they now distributed between other cybercrime groups, they're also gaining access to those groups' resources and continuing to work together. Yeah. So overall not good, but it looks like the Costa Rican thing was actually kind of a cover operation to allow time for this migration, so that when they shut down everything and no one's there, everybody else will already be set up in a different organization.
Yeah, still quite a crazy attack. Also, it's just weird because this is kind of the reverse of their usual like modus operandi, where like Conti will usually absorb like some of these groups, like I think Trickbot and Ryuk and some other ones like that. But now they're just sort of dissolving and branching off into separate groups again.
Pringling off into separate groups.